So Mr. Ed here on a hot, and I do mean hot. It's like right now it's 100, maybe 101 degrees. July day in Louisiana. And once again, I'm shooting my intro for the video way after the fact that the video's been shot. And wow, today was just an awesome day here at the Abbey. Today, there were at least 23, there might have been 25 people from all over the world came and visited the Abbey. And they were embassy delegates from different countries. And I spoke to ladies from Portugal, France, Poland, Germany, Guatemala, and I even think Italy was in there too. So all European, even South American countries were there too. And they came to the Abbey because they're in agriculture, in their countries, they're in the agriculture field. And they're visiting Louisiana right now on a tour on agriculture business. And for whatever reason, and I don't know what that reason was, they called me up and wanted to come to the Abbey and look at the honey operation. And I think it might have had to do with something my buddy Alan Fobb, the bee inspector, the state bee inspector, I think that he had something to do with throwing my name in the pot. And since he had been out here previously, I think he had something to do with it. But in any case, they came out here on a bus, and I'm telling you, it was a great day. Charlie came out here today and shot all the video that you're going to watch, and the closing of the video is just phenomenal. So without any further ado, let me start this video and show you what God blessed us with today.
Welcome, and we're very honored to have you all here today, and we get to learn about our honey operation here and our honey master, Jeff. And so we just want to extend a welcome to you. I would say a warm welcome, but that's obvious. It's more like a hot welcome, but anyway, so welcome.
I know you all are very anxious to see the operation here, and we've been working on the Abbey Honey operation since 2012. That's when it first began, was in 2012, and it began as a hobby, as most of the monks have hobbies, and one of the monks decided he wanted to, as a hobby, to do beekeeping, and he asked me if I would help him in that endeavor. I at that time did not have any hives of my own, so I said, well, sure, I'll do it. So he and I began the process. We bought some bees. We started with 3 bees. Well, it was probably about 8 months after we began that junior monk, he decided he didn't want to be a monk anymore, and he left. And so I was then kind of like, well, what are we going to do with this? So I said, well, we'll see where it goes. There was no plan other than it was a hobby. This was a hobby. It started out as a hobby, so there was no great design of something to happen with this. And so we started with the 3 hives, and of course with bees always die. And 2 of the 3 died, and I did some splits, and we grew over about course of 3 years. We grew to about 25 or 30 hives, and that was still a hobby. It was just a hobby. We never even had the concept of being able to keep honey in the Abbey gift shop all year around. But that's what it turned into be. That's the goal turned out, was that, well, let's go ahead, I said, let's try to keep honey in the gift shop for them to sell in the gift shop all year round. And to do that, that would require about 300 to 400 gallons of honey that the bees would produce every year. And so then I said, well, I'm going to have to grow the hives. Well, that was in 2015 when I said, well, okay, we're going to start getting serious about it. In March of 2016, the Abbey had a flood. And there, in this building alone, the water was this high, but in most of the Abbey, it was 3 to 4 feet deep, and they sustained $33 million worth of damage to the, not one house except for Father Vic's up in the hill got water in it. So you can imagine it was a very, very long recovery, and in that process of the flood, all of our bees washed away. They all washed away. So it was that point when I decided, well, and I'm the only one doing this, I said, well, I can give it up right now, or we can really make a stab at it. And I really love bees, so I said, I think we're going to go for it. And that's when I made the decision to aggressively grow bees. In other words, to go do removals, take them out of people's houses, catch swarms, do splits, grow our beehives. And up to last year, when in 2016, when we had 0, and last year we had grown it up to 200 hives. It was actually Charlie and I do all the work.
Wow.
And it's just entirely too much work for 2 old guys. And so this year we started scaling it back last year, and we did pretty good, but then when we did our splits, we're back up to about 160 maybe hives right now. We only keep about 40 hives here in the Abbey. The other 120 hives are spread out all around the area, about a 30-mile radius from the Abbey, and they're all, people asked if we would keep bees on their property, so we keep bees on 10 other properties outside of the Abbey, because I no longer want to lose all of our bees if one thing happens. So we spread out, we diversify, so in case something happens to one, not all of them are lost. So all of our honey, it's raw, it's unfiltered, and it's unheated. And the type of uncapping machine that I use has a lot of wax particles in it. And so the wax particles and bee parts, all that stuff is mixed into the honey. But we let the honey rest for about 7 to 10 days. All that stuff rises up to the top. The wax and dead bees or whatever, all that stuff rises to the top. I then skim all that wax and debris out of it. And then once the wax is taken out, then I melt it, and you can see all those blocks on the scale. That's all wax that comes from our cappings or from when we do cutouts and removals.
What do you do with that wax?
On each one of the frames, it's a wooden frame, and then inside of the frame are these plastic foundations. So it's just plastic. And what I do with the wax is I melt that wax, and then I apply it to the face, both faces of these foundations. And what that does is it enables the bees, instead of producing the wax themselves, because it takes 7 pounds of honey to produce 1 pound of wax, I give them the wax and I'll take their honey. And it really expedites the process. It's already on the frame, and all they do is, poof, they draw it out. They draw the wax out. And when they draw it out, then they'll fill it up. And everything coincides with what's going on in nature, the bloom, the nectar flow. Everything is around timing around the nectar flow. We start our bee operation, believe it or not, in January. We start. We begin the process of starting going into our hives, looking for swarm cells, and then to make our splits. We take hives, and instead of letting them swarm out naturally, we go and we split them. And that's really the great thing about beekeeping. There's suggestions that you should follow, and there's stuff you should know, but basically it's your way of doing your bees. So bees don't belong to you, we just shepherd them. You know, we're the stewards of the bees. We don't use any kind of treatment, no mite treatment. It's all natural beekeeping. And for me, that really works really well for me, as it appeals to my lazy nature, that I want to do as little work as I need to do to get the job done. And it's hard work. Beekeeping is hard work. But when you're doing the work, and you can see the hand of God in what you're doing, it makes the whole process work and make it worthwhile, at least for me. And I set up some honey stations over here. And the first three of those little bottles of honey are actually our honey that we produce from our bees. The first one is this year's honey, the second one is last year's honey, and the third one is honey from 3 years ago. Honey never, ever, ever, ever goes bad. It never goes bad. And what's amazing about honey, that you could have hives sitting right next to each other, and the honey in it will taste different. So you'll notice our honeys, the first three, they're pretty much similar in their taste, because the source of the honey, the nectar, is primarily comes from the privet, which blooms in early May, and then right after the privet we have tallow, and that's really our big flow. So it's mostly privet tallow, but some of those other ones you'll taste, there's other tastes in there, and they don't taste like ours. But there's one of them, you can taste a mint in it. There's another one that you can taste a citrus in it. So they all have different tastes. We're going to go outside now. So you see, you put on your suit and you feel invincible, right? I use smoke very sparingly, but when I harvest honey, I always have it, because the bees, I don't know, they get attitudes. If y'all can come up a little closer, you don't have to stand up for it, man. Because this is really what you want to see. We have 4 boxes, and in our 4th box, look, as soon as I open up, look at the bees on the top of it. This is a great, now I see cockroaches too. This is a really good sign. This is what a beautiful frame of honey will look like. Well, that one's still not capped. On this side, it's more capped on this side. But this is, you got to remember, this is the 4th box. So the one underneath it is completely full. This frame right here, in fact, y'all hold that. Y'all can pass that around. Let everybody feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't touch the wax, just hold on to the wood. Because your hand will push right through that.
You're the official photographer.
Yeah, she will be the official.
But you can feel the weight, and the weight is the honey, the nectar. Trust me, you got your suit on, you're protected, you're fine. So we're going to move on down. Now this box right here, I got a problem with this box right here. Because you can see the other boxes, there's always activity, but you see, there's not activity on this one. Try on this side. Now, so we're gonna take a quick peek. Y'all really, I want y'all to get a little bit closer to this one, because there's obviously something wrong with this one. So we're gonna open this one up and see what's going on. Yeah. You don't want snakes in your boxes either. All right, now. I know y'all gonna remember that the rest of your life. Y'all, that didn't scare you, huh? Y'all got suits on.
It scared me. I didn't have a suit on.
Tree right here. This is the tallow tree, and this is what is primarily our nectar source. From this tree, it's an invasive fruit, and forestry people hate it But beekeepers love it. And there's big legislation right now in the Louisiana legislature about introducing a bee eliminating this. So there's always controversy. There's always controversy. This frame, I'd say 7 or 8 pounds of honey. And you see that? It's capped wall to wall. You see that? Both sides. So this box has got 10 frames just like this in it. So that box minimally is going to weigh 70 pounds. It could weigh 90 pounds. So it takes 2 people to lift that box off of there. I mean, it just doesn't get any prettier than this. It really doesn't.
No, it's fine.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, that's all we got on this one. So what do we say, everybody?
Thanks for watching. Keep on watching. We make more.
God bless Mr. Ed and all the people. See y'all in the next video. Again, I want to thank y'all so much for visiting us here at St. Joseph Abbey. I hope you come away from this place, you know, with the vision of seeing God here in what we do with the bees and in every aspect about the Abbey. The Abbey welcomes everybody, and the Benedictine philosophy is they see Christ in everybody, and that's when people come here. That's what they want to reflect. They want you to see Christ in them, and because they see Christ in you. So thank y'all very much for visiting us, and I hope y'all have a safe trip home, and I hope you had a good time here today. God bless everybody.